sleight of hand. Does anybody have more than a +3 modifier? Loki, are you better at it? Is it better for you to come up and
Uh,
tie the rope?
if Sopo notices this, he'll say, I can bring down a bit to him if you want. Like an end. It's heavy. I'm not that strong.
I mean, I'm decent at it. Yeah.
Anyone else? Alright, go for it.
All right, so yeah, Sopo will grab one of the ends and fly it down to you and hand you the end of the rope. Okay, looks like you tied a pretty good knot. So you can continue descending down. I'm going to say you rolled a nat 20 on your save. You know it's icy, so you can get down. Everybody else, what I would like to do is like you to think about how you're going to get down these stairs, because clearly Ziada is acting as the anchor point at the top. However, as that happens, Loki, do you descend down to the bottom of the stairwell, or what do you do as you have this extra length of rope?
I was thinking of continuing down.
Mm-hmm.
Check for traps.
I don't think there's a check for trap. Investigation, yeah.
I yelled down the stairs. You have dark vision for a reason.
I didn't think to. I'm already sliding, but with the rope.
The stairs look they look pretty safe. You can't really see them because of, like I said, this fog that's just rolling down the stairs. But yeah, so as you get down, you see this room start to open up in front of you. In fact, it's from the darkness of the stairwell that you were in, the whole room appears to shine, because the entire structure down here is carved from ice, but has some sort of like refracting value that just makes the room look like it's ablaze with sparkling diamonds and crystals. But as you emerge, I need you. Am I on the right thing? Yeah, I'm on the right thing. I need you to roll. I need you to roll an athletics check.
Need Loki to roll an athletics check?
Yep. Loki, roll an athletics check, please.
This sounds fun. Oh.
So
that was bad.
I have a plus 12 to the athletics check. I rolled. I still rolled a 5 though, so it's only a 17. But as you come down the stairs, these two enormous flippers drop down on either side of you and wrap you in what looks like a weird sort of paddle hug, and goes, "I got you." And I'm going to need you to take... all right, I'm going to need you to take 5 points of damage as this thing envelops you in a hug.
All right, it takes 3 points of piercing damage.
Just because you're covered in spines, or what is that?
Yeah, my armor I got from like 82
that's
episodes
right.
ago.
That's right. It kind of is. It's sort of like, oh, you're a pokey. All right, so the rest of the party, something's going on down there. What are you guys doing?
Do I feel that this has happened, and can I try and reel in the fish?
Loki, are you still holding the rope, or did you let the rope go when you got to the bottom?
I'm a pretty good hook. I'm a good bait right now. So
okay, if that's the case, absolutely. We could do an opposed athletics check.
I heard pokey, and I don't know if that makes me comfortable or not.
That would be a 28 you got to beat.
Yeah, nope.
Okay. So you feel the tug on the rope. Loki's holding tight to it. Maybe some of the maybe he's laced it over
It's a
or
big one.
around. Yeah, he's got a big one. You got a big one. Reel it in. But you're not being pulled further. So you are holding fast at the top of the stairs. What do the rest of you guys do?
The rope is now taut. So zip line.
Is it in visual of us, or we can't see anything?
So the stairs are 80 feet down. So even if you're standing at the top of the feet, most of you have dark vision out to 60 feet. You cannot see that far.
And so he's 80 feet away from us.
Maybe more at this point. I'm going to move Villain up. She comes up and she's like, "What's happening?" I assume Fizzgig probably moves up too.
Something's pulling on this. I assume there's something down there. If you can use this to try and get down, help out Loki.
Can I just kind of slide down gently with my ring?
What's your ring?
It's my ring of hover.
How far does it let you move?
Well, I hover about 5 just off the ground.
Yeah, and so you can move your base move, right?
Yeah, just basically just kind of use it to hover and keep the weight off of everything as I go down.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, I don't even think you'd have to use the rope then. You could just hover down the stairs.
Yep.
But if you're at the top of the stairs, basically, you're only going to get about 2/3 of the way down with 60 feet of movement if you're double moving.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, as you get down there, I'm going to grab you, Novakri, and put you right about here. You see an enormous walrus that has Loki in a walrus hug. Can't really call it a bear hug, and it seems to be laughing.
Okay.
All right. So you double moved. Are you going to do anything else?
Can't really do anything else.
All right. What are the rest of the party doing?
I'll use the rope and try to make my way into visual range.
Okay. All right. You can double move, but give me an acrobatics, and because you're using the rope, I'll give you advantage.
Same roll.
15 is what you needed. You're fine.
Okay.
And so you make it down to 60 feet, and I will move you right about here. And you also see an enormous walrus that's giving Loki, or maybe you can't even see Loki, but you can see the rope disappearing between the big front paddle hands of a walrus, and it goes in there. So that must be where Loki is.
Am I within 30 feet?
5, 10,
Loki
15, 20, 25. I'd say you're 25, 30 feet. Sure.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't have visual for a little bit. I just got it now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me. I'll click there so that you can see. And Novakri, you're right there. I should have done that. Loki, I think you found yourself already. I'll put you right there as well.
And do I get an action this turn, or is that it?
No, you double moved, so that was
Okay.
that was your action.
Okie
So
dokie.
unless you have double move as a bonus action, but I don't think you do as a druid.
Can I use like free action, just like talking, like, "Hey there, buddy."
Oh yeah, you can talk.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start to just talk like very calmly, very sweetly, a little bit excited, like I'm seeing my puppy, and I haven't been home for a while.
Give me a persuasion roll.
Oh, I'm probably not really good on persuasion. No.
Could this be an animal handling?
So because she was speaking words, I went with persuasion instead of animal handling. Animal handling generally is that you can't communicate really with the creature. You're using more like signals or like body language or whatever. However, with an 11, the creature looks over and goes, "Oh, there's more people. This is great. It's been so lonely down here."
Or being handled by animals.
Animals, yes.
So I'd be like, "Oh, great, we get to play."
Oh
And then
yeah,
I'll.
do you want to get on this too? I can give you a hug if you want a hug.
So that's my turn for right now, until I can go again.
Okay. So Fizzgig and Villain is going to try to come down. I'm going to give her two. No, her yeah, she makes it on the second one. All right, so Villain gets down there, and oh, that's not the right thing to click. How about this? Yes, do this, and I'm just gonna deposit her right here because we're starting to stack up on the stairs. All right, Fizzgig. What is Fizzgig doing?
I guess he'll try and make an acrobatics to get down there as well using the rope.
$17. Both of those are successes. So yeah, makes it down. I'm gonna grab Fizzgig. Put Fizzgig. I'll put Fizzgig on the stairs right there. All right, Ziada, you're up. I don't know how you're gonna pull this one off. How are you gonna get down the stairs?
Let's check and see if I might have something. I am not exactly sure, so what I'm thinking I might do is try and maybe like stab like a javelin or a dagger up here as a point to tie the rope
like
on.
a piton kind of thing.
Yeah,
and then just
yeah,
propel
exactly,
down?
because I don't have one.
All right, give me an athletics check. Oh, perfect. Pull out a dagger or whatever you got in your satchel. You stab it in the ground. Give me a sleight of hand because now you got to tie a rope to it. Oh, perfect, Bolin. Boop, cinch the knot up. Start rappelling down. I'll let you do it just so we can get everybody down there. Give me your your dexterity check. No, I'm sorry, your acrobatics check. You have advantage.
I'm here. I made it.
8 and 8, so 8.
All right. So unfortunately, you get down maybe about 20 feet, and you and all of a sudden, like the rope is great. How you've tied it off to that dagger is perfect, but unfortunately, you just can't keep your feet. The ice is that slippery, and you fall the last 40 feet or so down to the bottom. You're gonna take a little bit of damage. Nothing too crazy, I don't think. Let's just see what it comes up. Yeah, you're gonna take 4 points of bludgeoning damage as you tumble down the stairs, and we're gonna need Harvest, Fizzgig, and Novakri to give me a a dex save, DC 10, just to get out of the way.
With +3.
Oh yeah, because clearly the thing that's going to hit you is
the
giving you a
cause,
bonus.
it's within
by.
10 feet.
That's ridiculous and awesome all at the same time. Save yourself. All right, Novakri, you made it. Harvest, you made it.
In.
What's the matter?
I'm still signing in.
Okay. If it's okay, Kevin can roll it for you if you want.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm good with whatever.
No, you aren't.
No, you're not. Yeah. All right, so Fizzgig, you're gonna take You take 1 point of bludgeoning damage as like you kind of get knocked to the side and smash your elbow into like the ice on the side of the stairwell that you guys are coming down. But Ziyato, let me grab you, and I'm just going to put you right there, right in the front, right in the middle of it, and go. You have to click.
And we've established that things are not better with Kevin.
All right, so you guys are down here now, and it's this, like I said, it's this big room that appears to have several doors and several sort of passageways that lead in various directions. They seem to go in all the cardinal directions: north, south, east, west, as well as like the northeast, southeast, southwest, northeast kind of cardinal points. And so you also see this enormous walrus that still has Loki in a walrus hug right now. So what do you guys want to do? You guys have all made it down. You've handled the stairs. The rope is still attached if you need it. So in a way, Ziada did great, even though she got some bumps and bruises on the way down. What do you guys do?
I keep talking to the walrus, and I ask him if he can put Loki down. Ask him what games does he like to play.
Oh, okay. Well, here. And he opens up his paddle hands. I don't know, fins, flippers. Opens up his front flippers, and Loki, you're freed from the grapple that he gave you. He goes, so I don't know, like, what games do you want to play? Like, I'll play whatever. Like, it's lonely and boring down here.
Do you know fetch? Do you know hide and seek?
Well, hold on. Yes, hold on. And he rushes off over here, and then he runs back around, and he's got this, like, you know those like huge beach balls that they have that like if you go to Fenway Park that somehow inevitably always get blown up and knocked down on the field, and they blow them up real fast and close them. Well, they've got one. He's got like a leather-looking ball like that, and he's just like, "Oh, I've got this," and it clearly looks like if it were to roll over Loki, it might squish him a bit because it's a large ball.
Oh wow! Wow, that looks fun to play with.
It is. It's the best.
We should definitely try to play with that. But you haven't seen anybody come through here in a very long time? How long have you been by yourself?
Well, I don't know.
No one else is here with you now?
No, mostly just like the people that are, what's the word? The servants? The servants for like the snow lady. They come down here and do stuff, but that's about it. I mean, I've heard them say the word test. They've said test and they've said trial, and they've said that about these different doors, and he'll indicate to like the doors that are here.
All right, so is there anything on the map? Because all I see is a big black box.
Yes. So let me see. Maybe let's do this, and maybe this will bring you where you need to be. Did that help?
There we go.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. And you guys actually, you know what? Everybody, give me a intelligence check. I guess we could do an intelligence save.
Save or a check?
Well, the save should be your higher of the two if possible. Wow, you guys.
Whoa. And plus 3.
Everybody except
Don't worry.
Fizzgig.
Fizzgig can reroll.
Right.
He failed so good.
Everybody except Fizzgig, unless he rerolls, recognizes that this room.
Mike, can I reroll?
Yeah, you can reroll.
Yeah, because you rolled so poorly correctly.
A
Yes.
1.
Don't roll a 2. I can't help there.
You guys all recognize that this. Hey, all right. Yes, you all recognize that this room is in the shape of a large snowflake, which is you've learned and garnered that this is like Oral's symbol. Um, the walrus will continue and say, well, I've also been told that the door to the north, and he'll like sort of head nod directly above him, that that used to belong to the lady that owned this place before, before I guess she died and before the snow lady took over. But I've also heard that that's a test. And then the area down here to the, what do you call it? The bottom, the lower, well, whatever. They've called that the vault. I don't know what that means, but that's what they call it.
You do you like being here? Do you want to stay here? Is this someplace you want to live?
Well, periodically people will bring me fish and food and stuff, and that's cool. So I guess it's all right. And I have this ball, this really
I thought
kick-ass
you said
ball.
you haven't seen anybody in a long time.
Again, I apologize. I don't know really what time is.
So you have no desire to like swim free in the ocean,
Oh, I
catch
can
your
show someday, I guess. But if people are bringing me food and I have this ball, why would I do that?
Okay, so you're happy here.
It's all right.
Okay. Um, I have some dried fish jerky in my satchel. I'm gonna pull it out and offer it to him.
If if a walrus, and in this case a giant walrus, could wag his tail the way a dog does, that's exactly what this walrus does. He kind of dips his head low and he puts his butt up in the air and starts waving his tail flippers back and forth. And he's like, oh,
Can I move that ball at all whatsoever?
give me an athletics check.
Okay.
You know what? A 10 is enough to move it like maybe 5 feet. Like
Right.
you give it a kick and it rolls a little bit. It's shockingly not like, it's not solid, right? Like it's not packed. It's probably like a bladder of some sort that's been filled and then covered with this like leather wrapping to keep this guy from poking or popping it.
Yeah. I was
Um,
picturing a giant medicine ball.
yeah, well, similar, but instead of like sand on the inside, it's probably air. So there.
Right. Okay. Um, all right. So yeah, I'm just kind of trying to entertain this guy. Do we want to decide what tests we want to try first?
So
Guys?
as you guys sort of start to look around, you notice that that each of the doorways is marked with with a word that's carved in common, oddly enough. But you notice that this room here says, I'm just going to see if I've got this right. This room is, you guys can move into the room freely if you want to. Yep. And so you see the room to the left, right, or the southwest. Um, it looks like the beginning of the word has been erased or rubbed off, and you just see the letters Ervation. So Ervation. This room that's right here clearly says cruelty. This room that's up here says oblation. This room over here says endurance. And this room here says isolation. And then this room to the south, there appears to be a like a fog bank where the floor and everything is still covered in that like foot thick, heavy, like rolling and roiling fog. There's an actual wall. Like you can see the structure that's here of like the building, but right where this section, like right where this line is, right there, there's like a fog bank that goes up, and it looks like it creates a blockage or a wall, if you will, a fog wall.
Can't do it right
All right. I mean, I just in terms of hearing, the person that used to be there lived up to the north, correct?
Yes.
That's kind of the way that I'm getting pulled. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts.
What was that
The
word again up there?
Oblation.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Oblation. It's an old Greek word that means it means an offering to a god or gods.
To bless.
To blave.
And we all know that to blade means to bluff.
I look towards Velen and I ask her her opinion on whether or not we all go into one or we separate and each choose a door.
She,
Or we only have to pass one test to get what we need.
So she will refer to Professor Scant and pull the Professor orb out of her pocket. And the professor is like, "Oh, you've made it this far. Delightful. I had no idea I'd get to actually see this with my own orb. Interesting. Well, fellows, it would seem that you're on a bit of a time crunch right now, and no one knows exactly how long these tests may take. They could be here, they could be in some quasi other plane, they could be outside of time itself. But as you are operating under a time frame, and I too would like to make it out and not be dead, perhaps it makes the most sense to split up. Also, don't suck.
I think I could rock isolation.
Let's see.
I like to think that's exactly what Harvest says as she starts walking towards that doorway.
I figured it was.
Hey, we were socially distancing before it was cool.
Yeah, exactly. I think I can handle it, and I'm a druid, so I crave quarantine. And I'll invite the if I so chose to go into a door once we decide that that's what we're doing. I'm gonna invite the walrus too.
And we are playing this online, so we are segregated from each other already.
I do like
Or isolated
that.
already.
All right, so just as a recap, isolation down here, endurance here, oblation up here. This is cruelty, and this one is the one that seems to be rubbed off, and you just see ervation.
I'll take a look at the Irvation one.
The Velen will say to the group, "There's 5 doors. There's 5 of us. After we could talk to Professor Scant again if we need to, but I think what we need to do is claim whatever is behind each of these doors and then come back here." He had said earlier when we were traveling on Amjak that there's the chance that we could work as a team to do this, or we could try each of the tests as a group. But as he did just mention, he doesn't know how long these tests will take. And if our goal is to get out of here before Oral returns, then perhaps it is wisest to break up. I will take whichever door you choose. I don't know. Scant does not know what any of these tests are. He's only aware that there are tests and trials that true devotees of Oral must pass in order to gain her potential blessings.
I mean, there are 6 of us, though.
I was gonna have Valen make an intelligence check.
Yeah, and
Because
she's
yeah,
like, yeah, she goes.
you have to
"Damn."
count yourself, Valen. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, so she will say that first of all, shit, I hate it when I don't think common sense wise. But she also will say, would it might even make sense that one of us stays behind and watches here to make sure that nobody attempts to like catch us unawares to come back in here.
Interesting.
Yeah, and you can play ball with me if you
Jet
want.
for that.
What? We have what for that?
Who does she suggest should stay behind?
Oh,
She's like, if you want me to, I will, but I assume you want me to take a test. So, do we want to just do this randomly? Do we want to pick our doors? I mean, we could draw lots. What do you want to do?
I was just gonna say, draw straws.
Well, we've got some people who already volunteered for some, so I'm okay.
exactly.
I don't care.
That would be.
I was just being a wise ass looking to see if she was trying to, get out of
That would
that.
I would expect nothing less from a Sniv or whatever you are.
Yeah, you nailed it.
I definitely want Velen to take a door.
She would offer to potentially take the oblation one. She's like,
Perfect.
I'm guessing that maybe my magics would be a worthy offering as I deal with death as my subject matter. I don't know if that's true.
I think I would also be comfortable with either Loki or Ziada being the ones to stay back.
I'm just going to put her by this door for now, if that's what's going to go down.
I thought that was the one Ziada was doing.
No, I was just kind of pulled towards that a little bit, but no, it's not something where it's like once I heard the name, I was just like, oh yeah, she can do that.
Oh, I could do that one. I thought you were already doing it. Whatever works, or I can stay back. Whatever.
I'll take the cruel.
Okay. And then, so that leaves endurance.
It's gonna be the death door. It's definitely gonna be the death door.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Chris is good at making characters.
Yeah, I've already got a couple on the works.
Right. At this point, he's prepared.
Jesus.
I'll take endurance then. In that case, it sounds like it's something where it's more something I would be equipped to handle than yourself.
Then Velen doesn't have a door, right?
She is up top. Oblation.
She's going to the top door. Oblation up here.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And
so
Loki staying behind?
I think that's what the plan is, right?
Okay.
All right. And Sopo has traveled down and is downstairs with you as well.
Okay.
Good luck. Tell me all about it when you come back.
Yes, I'm sure it will provide some interesting stories for you.
I hope so. It's boring.
Well, then you could come along.
I could, but I won't.
Didn't think so.
I'm not stupid.
I tell him to play with Ukuma.
All right. So this is how this is going to work.
Tell Akuma to play with him.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He'll have fun. We'll see what happens.
I'm sorry, what? Smash. Bye. We'll see you in a minute.
He just keeps rolling that 20, so he's rolling the ball better than anybody else can. He's just like just pushing it around. Okuma's like, you're pretty strong for your size. And Loki's just standing back like, I don't want to be part of this or get run over. I'm all set. But so there are 5 doors. Clearly, there are 4 players that are going to have to deal with this. What I'd like to do, rather than break off into extended circumstances for each one of these, I think everybody can listen, but remember you can't give encouragement or advice to the person as they're going through the test because they are facing this test on their own.
What about ridicule?
You know what? I think that's what the chat's for. So if you want to put it in the chat, feel free. But otherwise, that's what I'd like to do is just have we'll all stay on the same channel, but we'll have each person go. Is there somebody who wants to go first?
I will just get it over with.
Roll them.
Oh, all right, yeah. Everybody, roll a d20, and we'll say highest goes first.
Shit. Don't waste your crit on this, guys.
All right, Harvest is going last. Ziad is first, followed by Navakri, then Fizzgig. All right, so Ziada, you took Endurance. Let me get this. All right, so you step up to the door, and as you put your hand on it, the door, rather than like opening, just kind of like phases into that sort of entryway into like a boss fight or a change in levels that you see in Dark Souls, where like you kind of walk in and the mist envelops you and it kind of gets really bright, and then in a flash there's a different scene in front of you, and you find yourself standing underneath a starry sky in a dimly lit valley. So you are outside of Grimvale, Grimscale. You don't even know where you are. The valley is surrounded by mountains, and you are standing atop a frozen lake. The ice is unusually clear and allows you to see through it without hardly any distortion. Through the ice, you see a faint light glistening underneath you. And as you focus on it, you see that light is a frozen sigil that is the snowflake emblem for Oral.
So I'm going to try and stab my sword into the ice. I'm sorry. Before I do that, how big is this sigil?
You can't tell. It appears to like. So when I say you can't,
I just don't want it to be like I think it's like something that can fit in my hand, but it's like, no, it's actually 10 feet wide or 5 feet. It's like large like that, like a table. It's like, oh, okay, different sort of just.
You know what? Give me a survival check.
11.
With 11 is enough because this ice is so like sort of preternaturally clear. You can tell that it's probably about the size of a basketball, but it's a fair distance away, as in like you're gonna have to swim to it in this water.
Yep.
It also appears to be like slowly rotating, so it doesn't. So that clearly it's just hovering there in the water.
Okay, so now I'm gonna be stabbing into the ice.
Okay. You know what? I'm not going to make you roll any checks on this. You kind of hack away for a little bit, and sure enough, it like you can open up a section, and once you open it up, you can like I'll let your survival check roll over, and you can tell that it's not going to freeze over. So it's not. This is not a test of time. This is a test of endurance. This is, will you be able to make it down to this sigil and then come back up with it?
Yeah, well, let's see. Is there anything I need to set up before that? Before I just jump in? I don't think so. So I think that means now that I've got an area open and where everything's looking good, it's time to jump in and try and get down there. I'm gonna take off some of my backpack and like my extra gear. I'm gonna bring A dagger at least.
Okay. And are you one of the people that has Boots of the Winterland?
I am.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you advantage on the checks that I'm going to have you roll,
Excellent.
and that's how I'm going to have you deal with this. So you cut a hole in the ice, you strip down to whatever you're going to be, whatever you're going to take, and you like whether you put the dagger in your mouth or you maybe like fasten it to your belt or whatever the case is. You jump in, and to say that the water is bracing would be a terrible understatement of what's happening. It is shockingly cold, like colder still than when you were dealing with the water outside, when you were going through the shipwrecks and when you were looking through the stuff with Ongjak. And so as you start to swim, I need you to give me a Constitution save. Remember, you have advantage. All right, that's one save. As you make it you don't have a swim speed, so I think you can move half speed, correct? I think that's the way it is.
I think that's correct.
I think that's what we were doing in Pirates, so I'm just going to stick with it. And so with that, you realize that you could probably get there to this sigil that's floating there in 2 more rounds. The rules for holding your breath in 5e are absurd, so you do not need to worry about losing breath on this. This is strictly just making con saves against that cold, because if you fail, it's going to start hurting you. So you make it through the first round. Second round, you continue to swim deeper. So give me another con save.
All right.
All right.
16.
This was a failure. You're going to take some damage on this. Wow. As you take 15 points of damage as this cold starts to set in and your muscles start to kink up, but you think you can still keep going. It's one move equivalent away from you. So give me one more check.
23.
Right, you pass on this one. You make it to the sigil, and it is this perfect snowflake just hovering there in the water. And you reach out and you're able to grab it on this turn. So now you have to just make it back up to the surface. The sigil itself, you can't hear a sound, but it sort of vibrates with power as you sort of bring it towards yourself. You know what? I'm going to stop. Do you do that, or do you just stare at it for a moment?
Like I'm grabbing it. I'm bringing this thing up to the surface at least.
All right, so you grab it, pull it in. All right, you got 3 moves to make it back to the surface with this thing. It's going to be 3 consecutive checks.
All right, that's going to be a save.
That's a save. You got 2 left.
Okay.
That's a save. All right, it's the last move distance to break the surface. Unfortunately, maybe those muscles are starting to kick in again as you take another 10 points of cold damage. You emerge from the surface, and as you breach out of the surface with this sigil under your arm, there is that same flash of light, and you find yourself back in the room with Loki and Akuma and Sopo. You are soaking wet, and you're probably going to have to take care of that. But you have passed.
So those damage, those were cold, right?
That was cold damage, yes.
All right, cool. So I actually have resistance on that.
Okay. All right, cool.
Cool.
Excellent. And so the other thing that happens is sort of burned, so that as you emerge into the room, the basketball-sized snowflake has turned into a single crystal. It looks like a long triangle that's like, if you can think of a D4, but stretch it out so it's a much more of an acute triangle kind of shape. It almost looks like some kind of key. And emblazoned in your mind are the following words: all the world is in winter's white, sheathed in sleet and ice. Set upon never-ending night, she conjures paradise.
Okay.
All right. Ziada has passed the test of endurance. So we are going to go to, what are we, 19? No, I'm sorry, I'm rolling back to look at this again. Ziada, 19. Novakri, you are, which door did you take? Sorry.
Irvation.
Irvation. All right. Let's go over here. Okay. As you go through the same similar circumstance, as you pass through the door that on yours, however, you see that there are words that sort of appear either in your mind's eye or maybe in front of you as you're going through that sort of like foggy door and that flash of light, and it says, every flake of snow is unique, and that which is unique must be preserved.
Great, I got the social justice test.
You find yourself at the entrance of a small, icy cave. Blades of wind gnaw at your skin from outside as a blizzard rages. When you look into the cave, you see a small fire, and a human boy is sitting at the fire, maybe 12 years old. He is shivering and in clothes that seem to be too large for him. Bear with me one second. I'm just trying to get something said. Oh, come on. This. Okay. Sorry. It's clothes that seem to be too large for his small, thin body. As the boy turns and locks eyes with you, Novakri, he mustn't be anything more than like 5 or 6. And he just goes, I don't want to die. Don't let me die. What do you do?
I moved. You said he's around a campfire.
He is. He's sitting around a small fire that seems to be like struggling to stay lit, but it's not going to go out. But it's like as the wind blows, it sort of withers the flame.
Okay, I'm gonna get up to the fire and start casting a tiny hut.
Okay. So you get up to the fire and you cast Tiny Hut. Remind me what Tiny Hut does because I'm bouncing between screens right now.
Well, basically, it's a casting time of 1 minute, so I've got 10 rounds that I'll be casting it.
Okay. All right. So you're gonna start casting this spell. So as you start to cast this spell, and the boy kind of looks at you, pleading, like, what are you doing? Like, are you helping me? Who are you?
Yes, I'm helping. I'm making us a shelter.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. And as you're doing this and you go through like the first minute of casting, um, you look back at the boy, and now the boy looks like he's 8, 9. You continue casting your spell, and as you go through the second minute of casting the spell,
It's
now the
only
boy
1
looks
minute.
well. So this conversation is going on, and I have a timer going, and so as this is happening, we're approaching 2 minutes, and as we approach 2 minutes, the boy looks like he might even be a teenager now, like 12 years old, maybe 13 years old. And he looks at you again, and he looks at his hands, and his body's grown, and now he's kind of getting a little taller and a little bigger, and he's like, I don't want to die. What's happening to me? What do you do? The timer is ticking.
Can I Arcana to see if can I do that while I'm casting to see if I can recognize what's going on with them?
Sure.
No.
Nope. I mean, it's some kind of magic. maybe it's some sort of like chromancy or something, like where people are chronancy, where people are messing with time. But and as you're doing this, he seems to be aging further. As you wrap up the casting of that spell, and the hut appears, the boy now looks like maybe he's 17, maybe 16, 17. Like he's aged. He's now almost getting to be a young man. And again, he looks at himself. He continues to be like thin and gaunt. His clothes seem to have grown around him. So like now his clothes aren't too small anymore, but he's still very wan and pale. He's like, what's happening to me? What is this going to help? What do you do?
Now, the spell does specifically say that spells and other magical effects cannot extend through the dome or be cast in it through it. So that should cut off whatever chromancy is going on.
What? You still haven't told me who you are. Why should I go in the house?
Well, number one, he's already inside it. Number two, I give him my name and just explain that.
Hold on. Time out. What do you mean he's already inside it?
Well, the sphere appears around me within a 10-foot. It's a 10-foot sphere.
Okay.
So.
And there's nothing about creatures having to be willing to be in it. They just all of a sudden are trapped in the hut with you.
It just says 9 creatures of medium size or smaller can fit inside the dome with you.
Okay. All right. And what is the specific language? So again, I keep jumping between screens. So stop for a minute. I want to jump back and read this. The spell ends if you leave 9 creatures.
Now, if he wants to flee out, he can come in and out as he chooses.
Okay, so spells and other magical effects can't extend through the dome or be cast through it. But if the spell itself is on the person, that spell would continue to be there, correct?
True.
Just what I'm saying is that like if a person was cursed, going into the hut wouldn't end the curse. They would still be cursed.
Okay. That's fine.
I mean, that's how I'm reading this. I could be wrong, but
no, you are fine. He would be the quote unquote source of the magical effect.
Okay, in that case, he looks like as this conversation is going on, he kind of calms for a minute as you give him his name. He says, "My name, my name is Bretzel." And now his voice starts to deepen a little bit as he looks like he's turning into like maybe mid-20s. Facial hair starts to show up on his face, and he goes, "Why is this still happening to me?"
I do not have remove curse. One sec.
I imagine as you're sort of like scanning through your mind, trying to come up with a reason or a way that you could come up with something for this, time continues to slowly tick, and as it ticks, he continues to age. Maybe he looks like he's made it to like his late 20s now.
Oh, where is lesser restoration when I need it? Greater restoration. I'm gonna try a healing word on him, see if that kind of helps his affliction, and I'm gonna explain it to him as I go.
Okay. All right. Please help me stop this. I appreciate being out of the cold, but it's still what I don't. And as you cast healing word on him, it doesn't appear that he's hurt in any way. So the healing word itself doesn't aid him. It doesn't hurt him at all. But it appears that it doesn't do more than just sort of like provide some soothing comfort to the individual. But as you wrap up the spell and as the conversation continues, now it looks like the boy is a man, and he is potentially in like his 30s at this point.
Excuse me. No.
outside of the hut, or actually inside the hut, you see that the fire that he was huddled by when you first found him is still there, still flickering in that same way. And even though the hut would be providing a break or a shield from the wind and the snowstorm that was coming down outside, it still seems to flicker, as if like whatever the practical nature of reality is in this realm, that it's still under the effects of that place, despite the sort of efficacy of your magic that you've cast.
Okay, can I Arcana the flame to see if I can see if it's connected with the age, if it seems to be connected with the aging?
Yeah, sure. You think it might. You think it might. Give me give me a wisdom saving throw. Actually, wisdom is survival. Intelligence. I'm sorry. I frequently get those two confused sometimes, but an intelligence saving throw. 15. You remember what was said when you first came in, which is every flake of snow is unique, and that which is unique must be preserved.
Okay, I'm going to extinguish the fire if I can.
How would you try to do that? Just jump on it and set yourself aflame?
No, but I assume there's still a lot of snow that got trapped inside of the hut with me before it started completely melting away.
Okay. All right. As you start to do that, the boy looks at you, his eyes going. I mean, the man looks at you, his eyes starting to go crazy, and he's like, "What are you doing? That's like our only source of heat. Why would you do this?" Again, now he looks like he's maybe 36, 37.
I'm going to explain that I think the magic is the uh, the fire is actually um, sapping your physical life energies, whatever. And I think that extinguishing it will help. And if it doesn't, I can always start it again.
All right. So you gather up some of the snow and you push it in, and like at first the snow seems to have its effect, and then the snow just melts and the flame is still there.
Did I notice any effect on the Benjamin Button here?
You did not, except for the fact he looks like he might be pushing late 30s, early 40s now. What do you want to do?
So the fire seems to be magical and it won't extinguish.
Mm-hmm. Sir, ma'am, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I just want to be warm and I don't want to die.
You can always fireball.
Every flake of snow is unique,
Yeah,
and that which is unique must be preserved.
Yeah, I think the problem is that he's in with the fire, and the fire is causing his quote-unquote snowflake to melt. I'm just trying to figure out a way to get away from it.
As you're standing there, racking your brains, thinking about this, he ages again. He looks like he's maybe mid 40s now, starting to sort of, his clothes are starting to maybe not be as filled out anymore.
Is there any way I can use like Mage Hand to move the fire out of here?
Give it a shot.
Okay, I'm gonna try to use Mage Hand to push the fire outside of the hut.
All right. You summon Mage Hand, and as you start to push the fire does move, but Pretzel starts to freak out again, and it's like, "What are you doing? This is the only way we're not frozen right now." He tries to stay with the fire.
I'm. Can I examine? Can I like reach over and pat him on the shoulder or arm to um, comfort him? But I really want to see what his skin feels like, what temperature his skin feels like.
Sure. You reach over. He feels cold, um, but he doesn't feel like hypothermic. He just feels like a person that probably lives in the Dales and is always cold and is not wearing appropriate like winter gear, etc. Um, but now he looks like he's in his 50s. I don't want to die. I thought you said you could help me.
I'm working on it. You won't let me help you because you won't let the fire go.
I
And
don't
that's
want to die.
well, I think the fire's killing you.
Well, then what do you suggest?
Get you away from the fire.
And go where?
Stay inside the hut. The hut will keep you protected and warm for the next 7 hours, 35 minutes.
He he roll a diplomacy, not diplomacy, a persuasion check. I I don't want to die, but I trust you, stranger.
I don't laugh. So I just keep pushing the fire out of the hut, just
Okay.
kind of motioning him for to calm down, stay calm. Let's see what happens.
You push the fire outside of the hut. It's outside of the sphere of influence that you have. He's in there with you.
Yes, and they should not be. If there's a connection, there should not be a connection any longer because that doesn't cross through.
It it looks it looks like it has a little bit of an effect, like the rapidness with which he was aging slows a little, but now he looks like late 50s. I feel like I'm still getting older.
Yes, but not as quickly. So I think we need to actually put the fire out.
I don't understand, stranger.
Can I Eldritch Blast that stupid thing and just blast the fire apart?
I don't see why you couldn't.
I blast it.
All right. Hits the fire. The fire like explodes and then reconstitutes where it was.
Okay, guys, sorry, I'm running out of ideas here.
Stranger, I need you to help me.
Working on it.
I don't know how much longer I have left. Looks like he's in his 60s now. Every flake of snow is unique, and that which is unique must be preserved.
I've got him away from the source of the heat, so there should be no reason he's quote unquote melting. I can't really turn him to stone to preserve him that way.
No, but what else could you do to preserve him?
I could try slapping snow on him.
Pause.
Looks like he's as you're thinking this through. You haven't taken any actions. It looks like he's mid-60s now. Stranger, we must do something. I feel the end is approaching.
Can I force him into the snow inside the hut?
Give me an athletics check with advantage. Yeah, you come over and grab his arm. He's feeling brittle and old as now it looks like he may even be like in his 70s. Stranger, what are you doing? And what do you do?
I push him into the deepest snowbank we got here.
Why? Why would you do this? And as you push him into the snowbank, you see that his body starts to go rigid and starts to freeze. I thought you said you would save me.
You're being preserved.
He tries to get out of the snow. What do you do?
Hold him in till he completely freezes over, I guess.
You hold him. Give me another athletics check with advantage. Yeah, you do it. He struggles against you, but you hold him in the snow, keeping snow all over him. Behind you, the fire continues to crackle outside where you pushed it, and his body turns blue and then goes permanently rigid. And as it turns rigid, it preserves him in a perfect ice statue of what he was. And appearing above him is one of those sigils of snow and ice. What do you do?
I reach for it.
All right. As you touch it, you are teleported back into the main room, and you have passed the test of preservation. You find it turns into a similar like triangle shaped key, and you are, where were you? You were there. You have words that appear in your mind as well that are different than what Ziada heard, and you hear, "We bow to she who wears the crown. Let the world shiver with dread. Clad in winter's whitest gown, her snow enshrouds the dead." And you have passed the test of preservation. Also, roll a. No, I was just going to say that. What was his name? Is it Ukuma? No. Yeah, Ukuma. The ball rolls right at you because he was playing ball while you were doing that. But no, I won't make you do that. Okay, so who's next?
Harvest was last, I think.
Harvest was last. So Fizzgig.
Valine.
All right. Yeah, Fizzgig, you are doing the test of cruelty. As you move up to your doorway and enter through it, words appear to you as well. And these words are that compassion makes you vulnerable. Let cruelty be the knife that keeps your enemies at bay. Rather than outside, rather than in like on a pond of ice or in a cave, you find yourself in a large room, the walls of which are lined with knives of varying sizes and shapes. There is one door, and the image of the Frostmaiden is carved out of the stone, displaying her owl-like face and large curved horns. The only notable thing is that an eye seems to be missing from the statue. Otherwise, the door does not seem to have an obvious lock or even a handle.
Is there anybody else in the room besides me?
There's just you.
It's just me. There's the door. The walls are covered in knives. And the image of the Frostmaiden is missing an eye.
Mm-hmm.
Is the image of the Frost Maiden smooth, or is it like carved?
It's carved out of the stone that is the doorway.
And is there a recess where the eye would be?
There is a hollow hole where the missing eye is.
But there's nobody else in the room.
Nobody else in the room.
Then my thought would not be cruel. It would be masochistic. Is there anything? And there's nothing else in the room.
That's it. That's all.
Okay. And what was it? What was the saying again?
Passion makes you vulnerable. Let cruelty be the knife that keeps your enemies at bay.
And what do the knives look like? Does it
The
matter? Is there anything in particular? Or
if you can imagine a knife, that knife is hanging somewhere on the wall in this room. What do you do?
See, like I said, my initial thought is not cruel. It's masochistic.
Well, remember these are tests that Oral gives to her devoted to see how devoted they are.
Oh, since there's nobody else in the room for me to do this on, I am going to pluck out one of my own eyes and put it in the statue.
All right, a couple things are going to happen. The first is I need a Constitution save.
Nope.
So you start to do it, and you don't have the stomach to do it. So you got to try it again. This is gross, but you got to try it again. Give me a con save. You're basically hacking your face up. Give it one more shot.
And the sad part is I have a really good plus for this too.
Mm-hmm. 21. You finally get the job done, but for those 3 attempts, you take 11 points of damage that you've dealt to yourself And as you remove your eye, the eye solidifies into a ball of ice. And as you slide it into the statue of Oral, the door opens, and it opens into a floating symbol of the snowflake. What do?
Grab the symbol.
As you grab the symbol, you are teleported back into the main room. Everybody who is in the room currently sees Fizzgig come back. His face is mutilated and is now missing an eye. Fizzgig, you have acquired a permanent -2 to all things ranged, but you have in your hands one of the keys, and the following words appear in your head. All the worlds in winter's white, sheathed in sleet and ice, that upon never-ending night she conjures paradise. No, I gave that to somebody already, didn't I? I did. No, I didn't.
I don't think so.
That one's yours. Okay. There's one more test to resolve. Well, there's 2 more tests to resolve, but I've already rolled for the other one.
I do a healing word on Fizzgig. So 10 healing.
And healing. All right. Harvest, how you feeling? You ready for your test?
Bring it on.
All right. Test of isolation. As you move through your door, words appear in front of you as well. In solitude, you can understand and harness your full potential. Depending on others makes you weak. You are in a cave outside the howling of wind. The room you are in is lit with cold blue fire coming from the very center of the room. The center of the cave, rather. Beyond a radius around the fire, you cannot see anything. Even though you should be able to see, it is simply dark.
And the fire is cold. Is it cold in here where I am? Or
It is well. So I mean, you've got your boots of the winterland on. So I mean, it is still brutally cold, but you're kind of immune to the effects, I believe. Correct?
Yeah.
So you're aware of the coldness. I mean, like maybe like on your cheeks or on your face, wherever there's like that little bit exposed, you can feel the sharpness of the temperatures. But apart from that, the only real thing that's making you have the stimulus of cold is the sound of the howling winds outside of where you are. However, this cavern that you're in, you think it's a cavern because of the sort of rough stone that is the floor, and the ceiling above appears to be that of like a cave as opposed to something that was, hewn or crafted. And so you're in this, we'll say 30-foot radius circle that's lit with this cold blue fire. And everything outside that radius is pitch black.
How far away am I from the fire?
You can be anywhere you want. Like I'm just saying you're maybe like 5 or 10 feet away from the fire as opposed to being like, standing in the fire. But the fire itself is this flickering blue flame.
And so I cannot see the edges of this cavern because the edges are further away than 30 feet from the fire.
Correct. So
okay.
if you get the, you know what? Give me a perception check. 22. You get the feeling that this is a cavern, but it's like an immense cavern that like maybe there is a way that goes outside to where the sounds of the wind are coming from, but you can't see it. because the cavern is so large and because there's something that's not permitting you to see beyond the edge of the 30-foot ring of light that you're in.
Cast flaming sphere. And I'm going to send it to my right into the darkness.
Okay. You shoot a ball of flame. As it leaves the blue circle of light, it initially lights up what looks like a little bit of the ground, which is further stone in the direction that it goes. But once it's gone beyond like the first 5 feet, it immediately turns. It starts getting smaller, 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 smaller. Almost like when you hit a golf ball and you watch it and you can see it because you're following its movement, but it gets so small at the end of that drive that it turns into just this little prick, and then it's gone if it goes around a corner or it drops to the ground over a hill. And that's what the flame that you cast does. It goes out and initially illuminates and then and it's gone.
And do I know if the spell evaporated? Because it should stay. So do I know if the spell evaporated or if I can draw that flaming sphere back to me?
So as the spell works, you could try to just call it back as an action. Do you do that?
Yep, bonus action, but yeah.
As you do that, it takes a minute, but the flame does come back. But it only illuminates as it comes back to you.
Yep.
I assume you're calling it kind of back to you. It illuminates that first 5 foot that you kind of like that square. I mean, we're using geometry as descriptions here, but it illuminates that and it comes back to you. So it's still in existence. It hasn't been snuffed out. It's just whatever is creating this curtain of darkness around you, the flame does not penetrate as far as illumination goes.
And send the flaming sphere straight up towards the ceiling.
So the ceiling is about 25, 30 feet up, and you can see the ceiling from where you're at. Ceiling. Yes.
Okay.
And I should further explain that by doing that with the flame, it just goes up and creates a different sort of light pattern on the ceiling because it's clearly. I imagine the flaming ball is like a standard like orange yellow light, where the blue flame in the middle is creating blue flickering light. So there's sort of a color play as you do that, but that's about all you see.
Sphere into the cold blue flames. Is there any reaction?
The two kind of intermingle with each other, creating again an interesting set of sort of like color to behold. Purple, maybe like the yellow and the blue turns green for a moment. The orange and the blue turns, I don't know, what is orange and blue? Purple or gross, whatever. But yeah, and so nothing beyond that happens. No further illumination occurs.
I'm gonna walk to the well, actually I wouldn't know that. I am going to go to the nearest wall that I can see.
So you can't see any walls.
I can't see any wall. So there was no wall when I entered the cave or the cavern at the entrance.
As that sort of flash of light happened, and you saw that language that said, in solitude you can understand and harness your full potential. Depending on others makes you weak. And as that sort of fell out of your mind's view or your mind's eye, you emerged in this ring of light, of blue light.
I'm going to reach out and I'll remove my flaming sphere from the blue flame, and I want to reach out and I want to put my hand into the blue flame. Is there any damage? Do I feel any pain?
As much as I would love to tell you that you're immediately cast on fire and die, no. It's almost like a there's clearly an image that I'm thinking of. It's either from anime or whatever, where somebody finds the flame and puts it in their hand, and like it dances there for a second, and then like dissipates before it goes back and joins back in with the rest of the fire. And I can't think of that, but that's what happens. Like you reach towards it, and it's creating illumination, but it's not creating any heat or warmth. And as you sort of like run your hand through it, almost like running your hand through like a series of blades of grass, there's a sensation, but there's no resistance. And it's sort of like you can cup it for a minute and then it kind of like abates and it's still just burning.
Step into the flame. Do I see anything differently?
You do not. Apart from it's weird to stand on a fire and not be burned.
Okay, so I can't see beyond that darkness while standing in the flame.
Correct, you cannot.
Okay. My gut reaction is to sit down and meditate inside this fire. But I doubt that that's the answer.
I mean, I think if anybody's listening to this and wants to do some fan art, I would love to see that. But,
yeah. All right. Then. Take a couple deep fire breaths.
Doing some serious hatha yoga there. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Kundalini.
That was it, not hatha. Kundalini, yes.
No, hatha's another one. I will walk into the darkness.
Okay.
I'm going to reach out for a wall and then follow the wall.
As you step, it doesn't. So, is there a particular direction that you go?
I go straight in front of me from wherever I stepped out of that. So I have no idea.
As you step forward into the darkness, that first 5 feet, you feel it. It's so dark. It's almost a sensation on your face, right? Like you feel the light behind you as a presence. And as you take that first step into the darkness, you feel the blackness start to envelop you, right? Like it's one of those things where the absence of a breeze is a sensation as opposed to its presence. And so the absence becomes a sensation in and of itself. And as you move into the darkness, you are swaddled by it. And I need you to give me a wisdom save. With a 17, you feel as you move forward like you're getting towards something. Is it the howling of the winds that's outside? Maybe like a release from the darkness that has enveloped you? Is it maybe the wall that you thought you could find and then work your way through? You're not sure, but you feel like nothing has impeded your progress. However, that sensation and that fading of light, as you kind of turn and look over your shoulder, you realize the darkness has consumed all of you, so that there is now no frame of reference. You cannot see the ground that your feet stand on. You cannot see the flame that was behind you. There is an absence of everything. It's like you're in the void itself. What do you do?
I pull my flaming sphere towards me.
I don't know if you've ever done this before or not, but have you ever been in a room that was so big that when you lit a candle, you couldn't see the walls? Because the flame does come back towards you, and it comes from a direction that doesn't seem right. Like it doesn't seem to come from behind you. It seems to come from a direction that doesn't seem right. And as it comes towards you, if anything in the darkness was looking, it would see your face. But because whatever void you're in is so large and vacuous, you do not see anything. You can see your hands. You can see your body, which is a relief. And if you move the flame down, you can see the ground. But the ground is ununique. What do you do?
We'll keep walking forward.
Continue walking. I'm going to need another wisdom save. As you continue walking forward, the absence of everything starts to get really frustrating and starts to weigh on you. Whether you're keeping your fire by your side or you left it behind, and as you move forward again, it too is enveloped in the darkness and you can't see it. Almost a sensation of hopelessness, because where is the way out? And as you start to waver on there, you start to see a light. Blue, cold, pale. And you continue to move towards it. And as you get closer to it, you see it's one of those snowflake symbols that I've described to the other party members. And you get up to it, and its cold light kind of basks on your face and your hands as you come up to it. And what do you do? Also, if you're talking, I was just going to say, if you're talking, you're muted. I don't know what you're saying.
I almost had the urge to destroy it.
Do you? I mean, tell me what you do.
Yeah, I had the urge to destroy it. I reach out.
As you reach out and touch it, there's that similar flash of light that you experienced when you first came in, as you have successfully passed the test of isolation. However, that time in the darkness and in the void has left a lasting effect on you. And I need you to roll a D100, please. Or a D1 hundo, as some might say.
I'm known for my locals.
I'm going to let you decide what this is, but you feel compelled to repeat a specific activity over and over and over again. Much the same as somebody who's got like a compulsive disorder needs to check the locks 16 or 70 times before they leave to make sure that it's locked. There is something that you do now that you always have to repeat. Maybe it's counting the coins in your pocket. Maybe it's making sure your boots of the Winterland are on right, so you have to take them on and off and put them on and off and on and off again and again and again until you know that they are secure. But there is something you are now very obsessively compelled to do repeatedly. Not so much that like in the middle of battle you have to do it, unless it's something that you do during that point. But I will leave it up to you to decide. However, the darkness has left its effect. And as you emerge back into the main room, you see the others. Maybe some of them are emerging at the same time. Maybe some of them are emerging later or earlier. Who knows? But that snowflake that you have turns into another one of those keys. And at the same time, Velin comes back, and Velin emerges, and anybody who wants to can give me a perception check. All right, Ziada, you don't notice this, but everybody else does, that she is not doing a great job of hiding her left hand, which is blackened and appears withered. Not to the point that it's unusable, but it would appear that something unpleasant has happened. And as she emerges, she too has a grimace on her face, but she sees Fizzgig and sees Fizzgig's face and says, I might have a couple extra patches if you want one. Remember that Velin is missing an eye as well.
Yeah, that could be good.
I suggest we go see if we can get into this vault now. I doubt anyone has had a pleasurable experience in the last however long we've been here. And Loki, I would like you to roll me a d4.
Oh, is it because I was doing so great? Damn.
All right. Loki, you have been sitting here entertaining yourself with Sopo and Akuma, however you've been doing it, for 3 hours. That is the length of time that it has taken. Remember, when you guys got here, you were almost at the 2-hour mark, which means you are now almost at the 5-hour mark. Oral is gone for somewhere between 6 and 8 hours. So your window is starting to close. Do you approach the fog door? Or fog wall, I should say.
Yeah, it's right here, right?
Yeah, it's the southern door, basically.
We can at least see what's in there before we GTFO.
All right. As you gather the crystals that you have, and oh my God, Harvest. I don't know why some days I just can't remember your name. Harvest. You have words that are listed in your mind as well, and those words are: her fury sheds but frozen tears as gray clouds issue forth. Her wind across the wasteland shears, bringing blizzards from the north. As you guys approach the fog wall, everyone that's holding one of those crystals, there is a slot that opens up in the wall in front of you that you can slide it into it.
Okay, slide my crystal in.
All right.
Yes.
As you guys do this, as the last crystal goes in, as the 5th crystal goes in, there is a pause, and then the final verse of the rhyme of the Frostmaiden occurs, and it says, "Sovereign of summoners lost, general of winter's war, long live the queen of cold and frost, may she reign forevermore." And the fog cloud breaks, and you guys find yourselves looking at a passage that leads to an anvil-shaped room with a door set into the far wall. Flanking the door are bas reliefs of 2 male frost giants that have been defaced, their features chipped away either by hand or time. And newer carvings above the door depict glowering heads of an owl, a wolf, and a goat. And as you enter this room, a couple things happen. The first is a disembodied voice says, "This way is shut to all but those who pass the tests of cruelty, endurance, isolation, preservation, and oblation." And as the voice says that, the fog wall pops back up and it blocks Loki from entering the room, as he had not passed the test, or a test.
Well, that's just a jerk move.
Can we throw a rope through the fog wall?
The fog wall is actually operating like a wall of force.
Gotcha.
So unfortunately, no. I just have to check one thing. And so as you guys progress into the next room, again you see a door on the far wall, and that goes beyond this. But the chamber that has opened as you enter and Loki has been blocked out, that there's a dome ceiling engraved with a giant snowflake, and there are two caryatids. Caryatids. This is why I love fantasy, because I learn words I didn't know. Apparently, these are female figures that support something. I'd never heard that word before. But the caryatids are depicting of towering women that stand on either side of a door in the south wall. And in the middle of this room is a 5-foot-tall claw-shaped lectern with a white covered book resting on it. And Velin looks at it and says, "That is our prize."
I grab the book.
As she progresses to, she says, "Don't." Like, do you grab it, or what do you do?
I grab it.
All right. As you grab it, a couple things are going to happen. The first is a huge horned owl face appears over the ceiling of the room that you're in. The face bears down on you with eyes that seemingly have seen eons and says, "Fools, you know not what deigns the attention of a god. But you have made it this far, and laws older than this realm force me to offer you the same choice that would be granted my faithful. Will you court death to receive my blessing?" And the door on the far end of the room cracks open. By grabbing the book, Oral now knows exactly where you are. But for those of you who have passed her test or tests, she is beholden to offer you a chance at her blessing, should you want to take the final test, which is in the last room in front of you.
I actually think I'm good without the blessing of the Frostmaiden.
I'm game.
All right, so I got one no. Velin runs up to Harvest and says, "Fool, we just needed to take some information from the book instead of the book itself."
Oh, I thought you wanted the book.
So she just, like, if you'll allow her, she like puts the book back on the lectern, but like opens it to turn it to a page.
All right.
Anyone who wants to try and get Oral's blessing can proceed into the final room.
Hey, it's only cost me an eye so far.
I don't need a blessing from her.
Okay. Anybody? So I've got one taker. No one else?
Hmm.
I mean, what's the worst she's going to do? Blind me?
Actually,
I'll go in with Fizkick.
Okay. All right. Beyond the door is a small room. This room is filled with mist. Rather than that foot on the floor, it appears to be like somehow there's a fog bank that rises up further. Chunks of broken ice cover the floor and jut up through this frost bank. Anybody who enters this room without having to make a perception check sees that there are 3 lifelike human ice sculptures remaining on the floor. I'm going to say that you see this from the doorway. Do you enter the room?
I cast Water Walk. on both of us.
Okay, you cast Water Walk on both of you. Do you enter the room?
Assuming that these ice sculptures are probably going to come to life and try to kill us, but yeah, I'll go in.
Okay, so the two of you enter the room, and I'm going to need a Constitution saving throw from both of you. You both fail. And on a failed save, the character is petrified, becoming an ice statue instead of a stone one. You guys have turned into ice statues.
Okay.
Do I get any advantage because of my boots?
You do not. You decided to.
Did you add your +3 for being?
No. So
So
16?
Oh no, that's the Yada. I'm sorry.
The DC of this is a 21, and
Oh, wow.
you guys both did not pass that. So you have both turned into ice statues and are dead.
Okay.
Well, Valen will finish reading their codicil and says, "I think I have what we need." And quickly starts writing things down into her journal and her book.
Can I try and lasso to get anything like those guys and their body?
You could, you know what? You could try to do that. You will not be able to go in the room, or you'll be subject to the same check. Give me a sleight of hand to use some rope to see if you could lasso a body and pull it out. 16. I'll say yeah. That's good enough. You kind of fashion like a slip knot on the rope. You throw it around one of the statues and you pull it. And as you pull it back towards you, I won't make you make an athletics check to do it. You pull it back towards you, and it is a solid statue of ice.
And everything on them turned to ice.
And everything on them has turned to ice. And as you do this, Ziada, and the party realizes that they've lost more than just an eyeball, the face in the ceiling just starts to laugh and says, "Fools," and then disappears. And so, it is 10 past 11. I think I'm going to take a quick pause and go take a bathroom break. And if we want to chat about what's going to happen next, we can chat about what's going to happen next. I will be right back.
So what are you guys going to make next? Well, I'm pulling out both of the bodies. Well, at least try and bring them out.
Nobody has greater restoration?
Nope.
All right, well, it's been fun, guys.
Yeah, nothing new.
it's a Thursday for Chris.
Right. Unfortunately, Harvest we've had for a little bit. Fizzgig was just like, oh, all right, this new guy's pretty. Oh, he's gone.
So I am back, and I have a quick thing I got to throw out there. What which statue did you pull out of the frozen room?
I'm gonna be trying to get both of them. So my first one would probably be Harvest.
Okay, so if you're gonna, so give me another sleight of hand. No, I said you could just do it. So all right, so you pull both of them out. Harvest, you have a secret that nobody knows about that is about to come to fruition, and so you walked into that room. And as you walked into that room, you immediately something was wrong. Things started to get colder and colder and colder, and like your boots, and you look down, and it's that horrifying instant that it happened, you just saw your whole body turning to ice in the room. If they had left you in that room, I would not have brought this up. But because you've been pulled out of that room, as your body died, and your mind froze too, you were brought to another dark place. And that dark place was not one of cold blue light or shadows and void, but one where when you opened your eyes, you were surrounded by a series of people that you did not recognize. They all appeared to be kings or rulers of some sort. And each of them was garbed in a different attire, but each of them wore a crown that bore similarities to the next. And as each of them looked down at you, they said, "Child, stop hiding your real form. It has served you well to this point. But if you are ever to achieve your true potential, you must be in the form that you were born in." And as they do that, several of the figures start to dissipate one by one until there's one left. And he says, "I'm sorry I never truly got to know you. But I hope you will be able to achieve great things, and that this last gift of mine will not be squandered." And with that, Ziada, you see as you're trying to pull Fizzgig out of the room, that for some unknown reason, the ice starts to melt. And just like the end of Frozen, when the breath goes back into Elsa from Anna, Harvest is back. But Harvest doesn't look like Harvest anymore. Harvest looks like our standard wood half-elf. She doesn't look like a moon elf anymore.
What?
And I think
born a wood elf?
I think with that, we're gonna have to deal with some fallout for next week because Fizzgig, we hardly knew ye. Absolutely. But yeah, you just you had a secret that just got burned and had some revelations associated with it.
I don't even remember the name of Chris's characters.
I don't just call him Chris.
Chris 1, Chris 2. It's easier that way. I don't have to worry about memorizing.
Valkyrie's really into the whole, that's character association and building rapport.
Wait till he gets with, about 5 weeks in, then we'll talk.
As Harvest kind of emerges in this new form from the ice, Velen just looks shocked and then says, "We've got to go. We can't waste any more time here, lest she comes back and finds us."
GTFO.
All right. I'm carrying Fizzgig out.
All right. As you emerge, Loki, you see Fizzgig now a perma statue. You see Harvest, but it doesn't look like Harvest anymore. It looks like something else, or somebody else, I should say. Um,
I start to reshape Chris into the way he was born. with shaped water.
As a
With Chris number 4, that is.
yeah, I was thinking the fucking war whatever. Yeah, the Warforged.
Warforged, yeah.
Yes, he shaped into a Warforged.
An ice Warforged, nice.
Then when he dies, I can take his armor too.
As Jesus Christ, it's true, but Jesus. As you guys start to retreat from the castle, or as you start to make it up those stairs, you hear this like howl of just like whoo, coming from somewhere, but it seems to reverberate through the entire the entire structure that you're in. And I think that is where we'll leave it for next week.
Cool.
All right.
Okie dokie.
And Dolan, I'll give you a sidebar with a little bit of insight, but not much, because you rolled for your secret, and I told you I wouldn't tell you what your secret was until it came into effect, and it came into effect tonight.
Gotcha. Okay. Sounds good.
All right, thanks, guys. I hope this was a good session. I know it was a little weird. It wasn't like combat heavy, but I was really looking forward to like putting you guys through these, because I didn't know how you'd do or if you'd figure them out, and you did it. You figured them all out. Novakri killed the guy with her bare hands. Just saying.
I preserved him.
But yeah, so good stuff. I hope
Killed some old guy with the mind of a child.
With
and
the mind of a child,
Fizzgig just mutilated himself before, finishing. It's just like, yeah, you know what? I lost an eye. There we go.
I will
think you know an elf before they die and they change on you.
I will share that if you had received the Frostmaiden's blessing, which if you had rolled a 21 or higher, your eyes would have become as cold as ice. You would have gained immunity to cold damage, and in addition, you could cast the Cone of Cold spell once per day. Or I'm sorry, once per long rest.
That was cool.
I was getting greedy. I was exactly thinking about the payoff.
Right. Like I said, if you guys had gotten that, I mean, it's a pretty cool benefit.
I just need to see.
I was just thinking, I was like, it's probably going to be pretty good. Maybe we'll actually be able
I would have died
to defeat her.
Nah, I would have died too.
Well, I mean, Fizzgig had a +5, which means he would have had to roll a 16 or better. So like, you didn't even have like a 10% chance.
Right.
I have a +1.
Well, I mean, you rolled a nat 20 tonight. A couple people did.
You coulda.
Coulda.
If I was in there, it would be a +3.
Exactly.
So you mean there was a chance?
Yes.
However, as we've said, you know what? If you're going to run back in there and be a fool and try to do it, sure. But I think you guys are trying to get out of Dodge right now.
Yes.
Yes.
But all right. Well, like I said, I hope you guys had fun, and we'll see what happens next week. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good night.
Later, guys.
Later.
All right.
Later.